Today's guest is Milan Vracaric, holistic guide,
How are you doing?
entertainer,
Yes.
and public speaker. So
Absolutely.
that's why we have you speaking today.
Yes.
All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I feel very good.
We finally got you here. It was like we spoke like a month, 2 months ago. Then we actually
maybe even like last year, the first time.
like
That was
2020.
crazy. Because it was 2019, I believe, when you shot me a message. And then I was like, oh, okay, third generation American. Then when I saw Nikola Tesla, which in my opinion is one of the biggest names ever. When we're talking about humans, of course, right? And I was like, wow, podcast, this is exactly what I was asking the universe for, because literally I just need people that would invite me to podcast. And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Things work out in the end or in the beginning. I think it's beginning actually.
It's very
Beginning
interesting.
of something new. I met you. You introduced yourself to me. You told me different things that you do. So how about you introduce yourself to the world at this point?
Okay, so world. My name is Milan Vracaric, but shortened is V because not a lot of people can pronounce that. I just turned 30 years old, if that means anything. I was born and raised in Serbia, in Novi Sad. And after graduating college, I just didn't feel like, I don't know, I didn't feel like there was opportunities for me, specifically for me over there. And it was really a no-brainer to cross the ocean. And then here, oh my God, ever since I got on this continent, I started feeling at home. It is very interesting because English, I was always good at English, and I ended up in Miami, in southern Florida, first in West Palm a year, and then I moved to Miami because I like being in the city. I like being around a lot of people. I'm a people's person, whatever that means. But I really like to listen to people, observe, and observe how it makes me feel, and vice versa, how my feelings affect what goes on around me. But I get into metaphysics straight away.
Yeah, we gotta get to that a little bit later.
Yes.
But there's definitely, it's an introduction, but it's a lot of. When did you start doing what you're doing right now? Like being a holistic guide, or you're trying to find yourself on the way. You're an entertainer, public speaker. You're trying to do that, trying to help out the world, trying to show yourself out there. And when did you start getting into it, and how? Walk us through the process.
Okay, so well, when I moved to southern Florida, that was 2015. I ever since I started living in this warmer climate, I started feeling more relaxed, and I felt like just like a need to pay attention to my thoughts a little bit more, because I noticed that my mind was just constantly, you know, and that happened together with me starting to develop an interest in acting, entertainment in general. And long story short, I started doing affirmations. That's the first of the many rituals I have nowadays. So I started doing affirmations first, and that's one thing that I maybe skipped 2 days in the past. It's almost 5 years now.
And for someone who doesn't know what affirmation is, can you please
Yes. Oh
elaborate a
yeah,
little bit?
absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. People are more familiar with prayer, but I'm not talking about like in any religious context. I'm talking about creating a relationship with yourself where you are by yourself every day, where you are observing how you feel, how you breathe, what you think about yourself, about your surroundings. And affirmations specifically, I started explaining my own way how I do it. But affirmations specifically mean just, first of all, being grateful. So repeating certain words. The most important thing is for those to work, you need to speak in the present tense as if it is already going on. So I am happy. Even if you don't feel like you're happy, you repeat I am happy, and then literally a lot of people say fake it till you make it. You can call it that way, but it only seems like faking.
Can you
When
fake
you're
yourself?
you can. Well, that's a yes and a no.
So it goes both ways.
It always goes both ways. We can like I'm pretty sure this is like a half an hour show, right? So I don't think
We're gonna have time.
okay, because depending on what we want to get deeper into, there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about. But affirmations, that's the first thing I started doing. So literally, I'm happy, I'm happy. Even though at first I wasn't, it's not like you're never happy or never sad, right? That goes for everyone. It is the fact that you're creating a daily habit, that you're affirming to yourself, you're directly talking to yourself and the universe or God or energy or however you want to say, you're stating your intention. And why it is important to speak in the present moment, because everything that ever was and ever will be will always happen in that present moment. This is might be a little bit hard to grasp, but
It takes so long. You can't grasp everything in a
no,
minute or a couple
no,
of
no, no,
minutes. So
no,
that's
no.
why we have you
It
to try to
takes
explain
time. Yes,
your
it takes
path,
time.
and so hopefully someone will understand part of it and find their own
Yes.
path.
So, sticking to the question you had, like how I started, so affirmations first, and then that's pretty much obviously one thing I'm very grateful for is that I was blessed with discipline, and I always had an idea or like always knew that it's good to do physical exercises. I'm pretty sure everyone like knows this. Like most people know that physical exercise is mandatory if you want to live a healthy, long life, right? And these two, so physical exercise and affirmations, and after a year living in West Palm Beach, I just felt like I want to move to Miami because if I wanted to do anything with acting, I had to move to a bigger city, right? Even though it's not Hollywood or New York, it's still bigger than West Palm Beach, and there's more opportunities there. So I moved to Miami, and ever since I moved to Miami, I was like, okay, I used to go out. I used to drink a lot. I used to smoke cigarettes even. Uh, and I used to go out to bars, especially in West Palm Beach, like 4 to 6 nights a week, man. It was.
You were disciplined also for that, I see. For the first place.
So, and then when I moved to Miami, I did a totally contradictory thing where most people move to Miami to go out. I was like, that's it. I don't First of all, I didn't feel like I wanted to go out anymore that often, nearly as often. And secondly, I was like, that it was enough, man. Like let's do something else now. And then so when I moved to Miami is when I started paying more attention to how my habits affect my daily moods or feelings or feeling and thought patterns and how they affect my results. One of those results, of course, is money. And I absolutely believe that money is something that can be very good, can be used in beautiful, beautiful ways. There's numerous examples in the world now, of course, but long story short, after I moved to Miami, physical exercise still, affirmations, then I started hmm, gaining more interest in breathing exercises. That is what really couple years ago I started researching more, reading more. That's one thing I also do. Like reading is knowledge is power, and that power no one can take it away. So breathing exercises, that was wow, that was a total paradigm shift, man. Like
That was a crucial moment for you. That's
that
what you're
was,
trying
I
to say.
believe, yeah, I believe like the first crucial moment, affirmations. Second, definitely breathing exercise, man. When you start feeling that your breath is becoming deeper and longer and more silent, you start noticing also that the more often you remember to shift your focus to your breath during your day-to-day activities, it is very interesting. Like the second you shift your focus to your breath, thoughts stop happening as often and everything around you seems to start falling in its place. That is very interesting.
As the breathing produces oxygen, oxygen leads to body producing alkaline, and then your nervous system works better because of that. As far as I understand, but someone better to talk about that than me. You have more knowledge about that, but that's just as simple as it gets trying to explain that. But you have deeper knowledge on the subject, so
That subject right there is one of the most important, in my opinion, especially nowadays with this whole virus going on. In an alkaline body, no disease can develop. No. An alkaline body is immune to disease, no matter what people say, even though ultimately, just to make sure that I'm not coming from a place of ego, I still have to mention that this is my belief or the way I think. But you can even, I'm pretty sure I even tried like Googling it once, and I'm pretty sure even Google knows that, even though a lot of stuff is hidden from mainstream, unfortunately, from just regular people. Even Google, I think, says in an alkaline body, cancer cannot survive. But cancer is one of the most serious diseases nowadays. So you're right. And oxygen is the first thing that alkalizes the body. Secondly, it's water, staying hydrated. Third is live foods. I see a lot of people that in the fitness industry, especially, we live in Miami. So here, oh my God, man, like every other person is a fitness guru. And I see so many people confused into interpreting or articulating nutrition and separating foods into protein, fat, carbs. That's the previous way of looking at food.
that's just simple understanding of the food. That's
That
not
is, yes.
deeper knowledge about how does it affect you in a which way. It's just how body works as an apparatus.
It's true. It's true. Absolutely. You can, like, but those are certain compounds that just what you said. Those are just nuts and bolts of what food
That's
is.
the body. Where's the soul? Where's the mind?
Yes.
There's different
Yes.
things involved in all of that.
The soul. First of all, the soul is in everything, but but alkaline foods are live foods. Even though like, a lot of people still think there's so much misconception and misinformation about, let's say, lemon. Hey, lemon is sour, right? It has to be acidic. Well, when it enters your body, it is highly alkaline. So this was just an example. Live foods, fruits, vegetables, legumes, seeds, grains. Even though grains, I do not recommend those every day, just like once in a while, because those are acidic in your body, and those most of them, and they cleanse the body. So it's necessary to eat those. But see, I ended up talking about fitness because we're in Miami, but there's so much misconception around, and I'm really trying to cover a lot of topics in a short time.
No, we have time. We'll cover it as much as we can. We're gonna get you here again, so it's not. We have time. It's important that we delve into the different topics.
Yes.
Not a lot of people know about these things, and it takes a lot of research, a lot of time, a lot of dedication, a lot of practice by yourself. You got to practice it. You can't just be talking about something. I read it from the book, and now I know. I read some simple things about everything that you do, and I don't have a clue about none of that. I read it, and just because someone said it, I have to believe it or not. It's up to me. But you actually experience something, so practice what you preach. Are you actually doing that? Starting with breathing exercises, which you're practicing on a regular basis, and people can see you, they follow you, and if you just look deeper into that, how many people actually doing that, and how superhuman that thing makes them just by breathing. There's no protein, there's no whatever. It doesn't matter. Breathing solely, which for me was really is unbelievable that actually breathing can get you that far.
Hey, it was for me too, man. Like really, like I was really taking it for granted. Like I was like, hey, it's breathing. Like I do it anyway, right? It can't have me changing the patterns of breathing. Simply cannot like change everything, can it? And then I was like, it always starts by doing. You can think, you can read, you can do all these things all you want, but until you start practicing, but practicing What does practice mean? Not, hey, I've tried it for a month and it doesn't work for me. You cannot expect a certain practice to start having proper effects in a month.
You're
Two
gonna see
months,
benefits, but
3 months.
not long-term benefits
Yeah,
are different.
yeah. We're talking about way of life. We're not talking about like just fads or trends where most people will take stuff for granted. It is it was going on with me. It is something that well, practice and being grateful for just how it affects you. That's what I was, going for, and that also touches the affirmations that I was talking about. But the breathing exercises, you have to make yourself do it. It will not happen like a lot of people wait for a certain time to feel like doing it. Whereas, it's different for different people. Some people can just, go that way. My way was always, listen, you know what needs to be done. You know that maybe even today I don't really feel like doing it, but I know that it needs to be done, and you do it. No questions asked. So, yeah. So what I was, yeah, I just remember what I was gonna say is a lot of people nowadays, I see a lot of videos on YouTube, people talking about different topics like breathing exercises or alkaline diets, like eating only light foods, and they were like, I've tried this for 30 days and this is what I've learned. You cannot learn a lot
Just
in
because of
30
the followers,
days.
people posting
Yes,
something, and
correct.
no one's gonna follow them more than
Correct.
30 days. They
It's
want
the key
results.
words. Correct. Yes, absolutely. But you're absolutely right. It is what a lot of people still do for followers and ultimately money. And don't get me wrong, money is not bad. But if you make money focus, if you focus on money, trust me, you're not going to be offering the most value out of your work. This is simple. This is very simple, and this is simply how it works. You can ask any guru or any guide or coach. They're going to tell you, do it fully, become what you do. And really, I see now that I look at all of this, I really believe that I was blessed with this discipline, because I think the ability to make yourself do things no matter how you feel in that moment about it is key. Of course, depending on different people you ask, they're gonna tell you different things. But like in this moment of time, like, 'cause I really think about like what a lot of people ask me, like, what is the most important thing? And it's not like I'm separating it from any other characteristic, because discipline is connected to everything. Self confidence, even humbleness, man.
Or even the discipline, at least a lot of things. As you say it earlier, let's break this down. Start from discipline, then breathing, then oxygen, alkaline. Walk us through the process and then how that spreads later. So how things happen one after the other as like a chain reaction, and how that does that affect you in the long term, or how your state of mind changed after you start falling, starting from discipline all the way forward.
Okay, so first I just want to give like maybe like a more sciencey insight into it, and then I'll go into how it makes me feel. Uh, so yeah, remind me if I forget again. If I go deep again, remind me to come back to how it makes me feel, because I really need, guys. I really feel that we need to stick to cold, hard facts nowadays and science, even though science is limited. We need to stick to conscious thoughts and conscious communication in this world where there's a lot of unicorn people, how I call them, people that believe that science is nothing and it's not important. That's why I'm going to start with a scientific explanation of this. So, changing the pattern of breathing, which is a breathing exercise, it sends different messages to your glands. It changes the way your heart pumps your blood. Everything in the known universe is connected, but in your body, I'm talking about our body, everything is connected. So the way your thoughts work, or absence of thoughts, the neurons that connect, the neurotransmitters that in which neurons communicate, uh, your heart starts pumping differently depending on what kind of breathing exercise you do, and it sends it also different neurotransmitters between your neurons, and neurons communicate with your glands through neuropeptides, and changing a pattern changes the information that is being sent to your glands. And as we know, our endocrine system, or our glands are part of it, our glands produce hormones. Hormones produce different feelings, different altered states of consciousness. This is also a very interesting topic because I'm also very passionate about shamanism and indigenous traditions, and how before there was doctors, there was no doctors. There was the village shaman, and if anyone either had mental issues or physical issues, you go to your village shaman, and no one really talks about the healing process. They just say, "Oh, it's magic."
So it's all science and nature connected in a way, especially if we kind of use both of them at this point. We know so much, we can make great things happen.
Yes. So yeah, going forward, like with the description or explanation of how you're breathing, how the breathing exercises actually change how you feel, is changing the breathing patterns. You change the information that the neurons are sending to your glands. That changes the hormones that the glands produce. That ultimately changes the atmosphere in your cells, changes the biochemistry in your whole body, and it alkalizes, it alkalines your body, and
you're producing more alkaline by doing that.
You literally produce more. Obviously, you intake more oxygen, because most breathing exercises include breath retention, so holding your breath. You fill yourself up with oxygen. That's one of the aspects. You strengthen your heart, cardiovascular system. It's one system. It is you strengthen your lungs, you strengthen your heart. There is also one interesting thing that a very, very important person in today's society, I believe, Wim Hof, who I got the first breathing exercise I started doing from. He says you you fill yourself up with oxygen, and then what that does is it also, so the more oxygen you have, it goes through your blood, right? It strengthens there's little muscles around your veins or your arteries, and you strengthen those. Strengthening those is exactly what relieves the heart and literally makes you live longer and healthier. So that is the scientific explanation. You literally, by breathing exercises, you literally change the biochemistry of your whole body.
As far as you remember, he said by breathing, you're breathing. Even you are doing that, inhaling a lot, exhaling, and then you kind of make your body work harder, and you get all the oxygen inside of you, and then you actually, even your adrenaline rushes in because you're fighting for your life almost, because
That is it.
and that's how your body starts actually working at 100%.
Okay, so mentioned that, it's important. I want to explain it also. When you make your body through breathing exercises, also through physical exercise, just mention it. But when you produce more, as you said, adrenaline, I'm not a scientist by any means, but I just want to mention that producing more adrenaline makes your body produce less of certain, I forgot how those compounds are called, but long story short, producing adrenaline makes your body inflame less, so makes you have less inflammation. And whoever knows anything about disease, all disease happens or starts as inflammation.
We all have problem with inflammation. No one even noticed that. It can be any kind of inflammation, but it probably leads from stress most of the time, but it's a lot of inflammation. And that's also one of the biggest problems we have. We don't even we think medication is going to help with inflammation, but that's just a deeper problem that we need to solve. So breathing also affects that. And if you stop, imagine if you're not hurting at all at one point. People don't even know how that feel anymore. You're always on some kind of pain. You don't even know it's there. So imagine a moment you don't feel that anymore.
There is a, because pain is ultimately discomfort. You can observe any feelings as comfort, more comfortable or less comfortable, or discomfort, uncomfortable. Uh, there's no such thing as like, you stopping to feel uh, less comfort. It's like, I'm saying from my experience, I really pain. The only pain I experience is if I overdo a certain asana, in yoga. But uh, I still, it's a flow. It's very interesting. Existence is very interesting. You feel the change in how you feel, if it makes any sense. And it is not. It is the ancient wisdom is about understanding that raising your self awareness is about changing your perception, is how you perceive that discomfort, because you understand it's going to be there anyway. And then what am I going to do with it? How am I going to observe it? What am I going to tell myself? Am I going to say, oh, I wanted this to go away? Or I'm going to be like, okay, so discomfort happens every day. Is there maybe a lesson to this? Let me see what I can get from this. Ask yourself questions. Is this maybe in a certain weird way that's not familiar to me? Is this good for me? Maybe is this maybe gonna shift my focus to something that needs my focus on? Is it gonna make me start feeling that pain that I've been feeling is a pattern for a while now? Am I gonna start taking responsibility for my actions? Am I gonna start understanding that it's all about my daily habits? Like, my health is not about, of course, I mean,
You got yourself to that point, so now you're trying to fix that, and you
yeah,
have to reverse all of that. You're doing something wrong, obviously. So after you got to change something if you want to get better, if you think you need to get better. A lot of people, don't acknowledge the fact they need to get better.
yes, man.
So, and if they
That
do, then you got to change your daily habits.
that what you said is gonna be the main thing in the coming awareness shift. Up until, like, in the past couple of decades, we had toxic positivity, where people were totally neglecting how they feel. So even if they felt bad, they were like, no, 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 I don't feel bad. I feel good. I feel good. This is also, I can say this from personal experience. I was doing this with affirmations also. Eh, eh, You mask, you try and bury your emotions, but this is not how it works. It goes both ways. As I told you, everything is dual in the physical existence, at least. That's how our senses are made, up and down, cold, hot. This is the new thing. You first have to feel that pain. You have to feel that uncomfort. That discomfort, especially if it's happening, like, if it happens, like, if certain discomfort happens like the first time ever in your life, it's not a big thing. If the day is maybe like the fifth day you feel the same kind of discomfort, also if it's more intense and you've been feeling it the past couple of days or weeks, this is yellow alert, guys. This means that something needs your focus. And this is how simple life is. Observing yourself and feeling yourself, you literally listen. You listen. Affirmations are speaking to, not, saying what you want, and feeling and just listening. Meditation also is mindfulness meditation. There's a lot of different types of meditation. Just no thought meditation is also listening. And this is what you said, mandatory nowadays. Yeah, we do live in a world where there's still war. We do live in a world where there's, unfortunately, rape, there's disease,
That
there's famine.
existed forever. So, but today just it's too loud. That's why
Yes,
you need that. You see your
what you said
thoughts.
also, even though it existed forever, when we say forever, we talk about what we have been told human history is, and that's past 5,000 years. That's the past paradigm telling us, like they want us to believe that. When I say they, I mean like I don't want to get deeper into certain topics because I think we need to get to certain topics, but there is such a thing as the top not telling you everything. And part of that is they want you to believe that war has always been going on. That is not true. We had before Sumerian scripts.
Civilization.
Sumerian scripts mentioned this, also some Egyptian ones, some hieroglyphs. There also have been hieroglyphs being erased. It is, long story short, there have been matriarch uh, societies where there were no walls around cities, there were no weapons. People lived in absolute harmony with nature.
But it's too far. So we don't even know. We can think of a certain point. But wars today, I think more wars that we're fighting with all this information, everything's happening today, is with ourselves. So right now, people are
Correct.
mostly focused on that, and I think we should all be focused on that. You're not gonna wage
Yes.
war against anyone. First, you need to win one with yourself, and after you win that, you can fight any war you want, and you'll be ready for it.
That
So
is that is literally it. If we had people that were fighting less of a war each day, they were, let's say, coming to peace with themselves. And of course, this cannot like just happen at once, like us dropping the weapon straight away. No, it has to start somewhere. The more people are peaceful with themselves, by themselves in solitude, the less war we would have, because that is directly what it is.
but we're also learning. Our DNA is part of us. So we have civilization, our ancestors. We're adding DNA. The DNA is copying, transmitting towards us. We're advancing. We should be. I mean, that's just subject to a lot of scientists talked about that. You
Yes.
know, we no one knows that for sure, but we know certain things, and we spoke about that. DNA copies itself, so we have telomeres. We spoke about that last time. So if you can explain what that is, I was
Oh,
not
absolutely.
well aware of that. So I looked into it, but I think you're a better expert to talk about it. It's really one of the most important things. So, and I don't think a lot of people know about that. So
Okay.
please.
Absolutely. I absolutely 100% agree with this. First of all, the person who started talking more, or the person that's, it's a group of scientists, but I can only remember. I'm not really. I don't pay attention that much to numbers and letters and names. But Elizabeth Blackburn is a scientist. I can't remember if she's a biochemist or molecular biologist, but it doesn't really matter. In 2009, her and her team of researchers got a Nobel Prize for discovering telomerase. Okay, let's explain all of that. So, your body has organs, your organs have tissues, your tissues have cells. Each cell has a nucleus. In your nucleus, your DNA is tightly packed in chromosomes, things that we know as chromosomes. And I'm assuming a lot of people do know, the X's and the Y's. That's how I remember them from elementary school biology. And those are chromosomes. And if you imagine, like, let's say an X as a chromosome, the very ends, so the four ends of DNA, is those are called telomeres. So you might know that the DNA is, a lot of people might know it's like a double helix, right? And you can view the telomeres as plastic caps on shoelaces that keep the laces from fraying. Uh, Human aging is the fraying of DNA, guys. This is very simplified. So telomeres keep your DNA from fraying. As cells divide, as they multiply, uh, the telomeres on the top of your chromosomes shorten slowly. Elizabeth Blackburn and her team in 2009, that was 11 years ago, got a Nobel Prize for discovering an enzyme that's called telomerase that repairs telomeres. If human aging is fraying of DNA, Telomeres keep our DNA from fraying. And Elizabeth Blackburn said that not only can we slow down and stop this, we can also reverse the process. This is
Talk about
metaphysical,
reverse aging
maybe,
process.
yes, but listen, this is only theory for now. It's speculative, but that is pretty much it. And I also want to say that what she said is that the production of telomerase, how fast your telomeres repair, directly have to deal with your lifestyle, with your habits. Let that sink in.
So we brought it
What
to
does
the
that mean?
smallest parts of our body as far as we know so far.
But it's little because what I mentioned, the top does not want you to know this. And even Elizabeth, I've seen her a couple times. I've seen her videos. I've seen her talk. She gets very serious when she talks about the telomeres and
How do we affect telomeres besides our lifestyle? How can you affect them in a good or a bad way?
okay, so I haven't seen a video of her ever mentioning this besides saying that it's down to your lifestyle. What is your lifestyle, guys? It's your habits.
I mean, most of the people, it's not good. So I guess it's not helping at all.
Okay, yes. So it is what you said. Like the first thing you said is alkalizing your body. It's the breathing exercises. It's drinking a lot of water. It's eating live foods. It is exercising. It is fasting. That is a whole other topic. Fasting. This is I have to say this is my belief because I don't have any scientific proof, but literally going to what Elizabeth Blackburn said, your lifestyle affects the production of telomerase and all of these things that we've been talking about, the affirmations, the thoughts. So we were talking about like how neurons communicate with your glands and how that changes your biochemistry. All of these holistic health habits make you produce more telomerase and help you live a healthier, longer life. And theoretically, you can live a lot longer with people
Or shorter. It depends on your list.
Well, absolutely.
So
It goes both
it's up
ways.
to you. But that's the science in it, which is nice. Which is nice and great to have.
Man.
It's not you're not gonna have a nothing against shamanism or someone who's doing, but this is like you have a scientific evidence proving someone who was like thinking of something supernatural in a way.
Yes.
So that's just those two combined, and no one can argue that.
That is yes. Talking in our modern society, yes, science is often glorified as the ultimate authority. But you're absolutely correct. It is not a lot of skeptics nowadays can argue scientific experimental data. That is absolutely true. So that is why the main reason why I still love to read science. First of all, because it's fun to me to kind of physically understand like the technicalities about like how I mean existence is. But it also helps me a lot with like debating with people, even with like highly acclaimed popular public figures that claim they know the truth. It helps me out a lot with them just mentioning certain experiments and certain names of certain experiments, like the double slit experiment, proving over and over again in the past several decades that our assumptions, our expectations directly affect the outcomes of experiments that we're undertaking. Absolutely.
You
No
have
one
to
can argue with
you
that.
have to read a lot. You have to be articulate if you want to discuss a topic with someone. You can't just be really have to go deep into it. And if you want to argue about something, you at least have to know 10 times more than your subject you're talking about. So that not just if you know something like superficially read something about a little bit, you can't argue about that because someone else gonna show up and know more about that than you. You're gonna end up being stupid because you're trying to prove yourself that you know. And it's a lot of things that we don't know, but you can look at it. It takes years. You whatever you're doing right now, it's not easy to comprehend all of that. People just gonna look like, what is he talking about? What is this? What is still? But
You're
you delve
absolutely
deep,
right.
you don't even know what that is, but you start looking it up, then you're reading, it takes years, then you, oh my God, I should have realized this a long time ago, but
That's how it
even
goes.
you implement then your daily habits. So tell us about your daily habits in your week, how that looks like.
So, first of all, just because we're talking about reading, I'm going to tell you about my habits in like a minute. I just want to clarify one thing is, again, because I see a lot of people talking about read at least one book a day. No, don't read at least one book a day. It is necessary to read, but reading is knowledge. It's accumulated knowledge. The second thing that's very important about knowledge is how you understand it organically. Like what you read, how you can be like, ah, okay, this is connected to that.
Digesting, implementing, you have to.
Yes. And the third most important thing is applying this knowledge in your daily habits. What you read, how you understand, and how you implement, how you use it to better your life. I believe this is why most people read, because they want a better life for themselves and their loved ones. So
You like to believe that, but is that a fact? That's a different topic.
it is, yes, absolutely. Again, we're only talking about beliefs here because we're two Homo sapiens communicating in a certain language. You're absolutely true. All these things are relative ultimately. Thank you for that. And but yeah, daily habits. Okay, so I'm getting pretty good at keeping talking about my daily habits. Pretty simple. Okay, so the first thing I do is a certain breathing exercise. It's a pranayama. It's a breathing exercise from yoga. It's called Bastrika. So the first thing I do, my coffee, if you will, my coffee. Every morning I wake up, 3 rounds of Bastrika. It is the most intense breathing exercise in yoga. It deals with rapid breathing.
What time you wake up? Sorry to interrupt.
What's that?
What time you wake up?
Okay, well, if because I still do work at the restaurant to pay the bills. So if I'm working late, to like let's say 11 p.m. or even midnight, depending on when I go to bed. So when I'm like, obviously, if I'm working late, I'm waking up probably around like not earlier than 7 a.m. But more and more days now I have off because I don't have to work as much at the restaurant. Of course, I can do focus on my brands, right? The acting and the holistic guidance thing. If I was off and I lived the day my way, I went to bed at the latest 11, around like 10 p.m. But waking up anywhere from like I don't know 4:30 to like 5:30 a.m. around like 5 or 6 a.m. Yeah, around that time. So right after I wake up, 3 rounds of Astrika. That really makes me like like I just I'm awake. So for anyone that's interested in this breathing exercise, I posted a bunch of like I posted videos about this numerous times. So kind of referred to my social media platforms about this. The second thing I do is a body scan contemplation, if you will, a body scan contemplation. It is where you sit peacefully and just observe the feeling of your feet first. And you go from your feet up to your head, right? And you feel your entire body. This makes you create a very intimate relationship with your body. And this way you can listen to your body very good. So there's no need for a doctor. But this is something that obviously is a totally different topic. But the third thing I do is I'm pretty sure you know about the Om in yoga,
I
the
think everyone
mantra.
should have heard about that.
Probably
So,
a lot of people, yeah, heard of it. And I do that and a couple of other mantras or chants, if you will. These there's also an explanation for how these affect us. Your body is just a set of cavities. Like you have cavities everywhere, and a good example is an acoustic guitar or cavity. That once certain vibrations are produced of it, they create different sounds, right? So literally, this is what the Om and everything else is. You literally raise the vibration of your cavities, which obviously raises your own vibration. And law of attraction people know best what this means. Then The next thing, yes, I like to, whenever I have time, to contemplate one of my plants, to contemplate what I breathe in is what they breathe out. What I breathe out is what they breathe in. This is just the circulation of CO2 and O2. This, I'm pretty sure a lot of people also know about this. And just this helps in numerous ways. I'm not gonna get into that now. The next thing is the affirmations. But again, like when I initially started explaining how I do my affirmations, I I can just explain this. I become one with the universe or God or energy. I cry every morning. Is those are tears of joy. Like probably you're familiar that crying, as a lot of other things, happens in two extremes: deep sorrow, right, when you're very unhappy, or when you're very happy, euphoria. So you cleanse yourself. It is like that is why I don't identify myself ultimately as a holistic guide, life coach, or anything, even though I like to mention that as my preoccupation or actor or anything. But I'm a practitioner, first of all. And this practice of mine, besides other ones, also some other ones, look like probably something you would see a monk be doing at the monastery. So this is why I oftentimes have fun with people and just kind of say, "Hey, I'm a monk," because they are ultimately practitioners. And what you said, it's all about the habits and practice. The next thing is after the affirmations, I like to warm up a little bit. I do some yoga for my lower back because I used to have problems with my sciatica nerve. Not anymore, of course, but it helped me. After that, I go to the gym for half an hour. Then I go outside for a run. I love running outside, man. I love the heat here in Miami, man. I love sweating. It's beautiful. Not a lot of people can argue with this, that this is good for you. Also, after running, I do an hour of yoga. Wow, man, that is just a series of topics in itself. And most people, when uh, long story short, it's all yoga, like the breathing exercises, the asanas. Because when you ask most people what yoga is, they first just think of the asanas, the stretching exercises, which is just one part of it. Of course, different kinds of meditation, different kinds of cleansing your body. It's a lot. So after my hour of yoga practice or asanas, I do anywhere from half an hour to an hour of other different breathing exercises. I start with Bastrika, the first thing I do each day, and then at the very end, I do other breathing exercises. One of them is the Wim Hof breathing technique. Like, thank you for that, Wim. Really. And yeah, I end up with anywhere from 15 minutes to, hey, when I'm really really free, it's like an hour of meditation. It's just meditation. When I say this, that my last practice is just mindfulness meditation. This is how the West probably knows about it, is that calming your mind, silencing the mind, and just focusing on your breath helps with this, but just emptying the mind and becoming still with no thoughts. And again, this is any other practice. You become better the more you do it. But there's no such thing as not having thoughts at all. Even the most experienced Shaolin monks can tell you that thoughts come and go. And it's, again, your perception, your relationship with these thoughts what determines if you're going to stress or not. You're going to allow the thought to come in. Oh my God, I'm fat. Okay. And always let it go. It is here for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter. And also, it leaves you. And that observation, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you are nothing more but an observer. You notice that situations happen to you no matter how terrible they might be, but they always pass. And the only thing that's constant is the observer, is you identifying more or less with the feelings that emerge in those situations. And then at the end, you're like, oh my God, that wasn't so bad after all. Right?
Well, it turns out to be best in the end after. I mean, there's so much practice that you do and so much meditation, yoga, breathing. That you do that every day, or it's like you've been doing that for a long time every day. How that works? It's a lot
Well,
of
man,
work.
like
That's like a
you,
full time job just to keep your mind and soul and body in check. And not all people like themselves that much to spend that much time working on themselves. A full time job once a week, it's unbelievable. So a lot of commitment it takes if you make yourself better. It takes a lot of commitment in whatever way you want it. Whatever you do, it takes a lot of commitment.
it seems like you're literally hitting the nail on its head with each of your questions. It's so important what you said. Like before, this is the problem I had. I was identifying with being a yogi. A yogi practices yoga every day, right? Wrong. I was identifying with this. It was really a problem for me, or I didn't know it was a problem until very recently when I hurt myself doing I really like doing some very complex lotus asanas. I really, uh, let's say, slightly hurt one of my smaller muscles in my calf muscles in both of my legs, the ones that move on the sides. Not every day. Like 9 out of 10 days, yes, but 1 out of 10 days, I just like to be. Just don't do any of anything. Just wake up and just see how that day goes. I have to admit, most of the times these days are a bit more challenging than others because the rituals that I do are grounding. The purpose of them, one of them is it grounds you and you are able to go through your day with least amount of stress, least amount of uncomfort. You get to be you.
And you prepare yourself for that day by doing that.
Well, absolutely, yeah, bro. No, absolutely. It's true.
When
But
you get up, and you get, well, I don't know, media, you get some bad information, some bad energy. People can't get up without the coffee. It's just any
mhm,
coffee. The day starts off bad, and it's gonna end up being bad in the end. If you start out the day good, you're more readier from that. So it really affects you. It's your mindset at the beginning of the day, most importantly.
that's true, man.
First is, but you do that for you. It takes you hours and hours to be ready for that day. Someone maybe take half an hour, might not. It might 3 hours, might be the whole
Yes.
day. But you're ready. Whatever life throws at you, probably going to be more ready than most of the
Oh,
people.
absolutely. But that also what needs to be said is that for some people, like for me, I really enjoy what I do, man. Like the physical exercise I have to mention, I do it only 3 times a week. So the full sequence of daily practices that I went through, uh, I only do 3 times a week, and that's 6 to 7 hours. It
But
is
you're following your own feeling, your body. You're listening to
yes,
yourself. It's not like
yes.
you just I have to do this. And
No,
if you say I have to do it, it's not right. That's a part of the discipline, but you actually
yes,
enjoy doing it because
yes,
I guess in the beginning you'll stop, but after a long time it becomes a habit, and
absolutely,
you can addict to that feeling. So in the end you like it if that's part of it. But
yes.
you got to try it. Maybe there's different methods for everyone. Everyone needs to try something different.
That's yes.
That's your part. That's how you do it.
Precisely what I was going for is not everyone, no one is the same. Like for me, it works. Like this is my passion, guys. I really love self awareness. I love becoming more familiar with what is. But for some other people, half an hour might be enough. Hey, even 15 minutes. I've seen people, man, like the affirmations that I mentioned you, they were raised at childhood. How you were raised is very important. There's certain people that don't even perceive themselves as doing daily rituals. They just have such thought patterns, like each day. Literally, the self-talk. It's literally they repeat the same positive things or the same gratitude affirmations like throughout the day. It is and for them it works. And me, like a lot of people say, oh, you're like a monk. Like, yeah, because my things last a bit longer, my rituals last a bit longer than someone else's. But there's some people, I know people, man, like 15 minutes for them, they're non-dual, how I say. They are unbothered by their daily challenges.
Everyone's different, but the whole point of is discovering yourself, and you're trying to discover your happiness, your mindfulness, and what do you recommend for people trying to follow your story and your advice or something? I guess a lot of people ask you, how do you do it? You helping them out, I assume. A lot of people contact you. They don't know what they do in their life. They're trying to even go undercover almost with that. Now people want to open up and say what's the problem.
Yes.
So you're trying to guide them. You're trying to help them. The whole point of that, if you can deliver the message and help someone out, I don't think that's the biggest fulfillment you're gonna have. You, of course, helping yourself, but if you can share that. So tell me some of the experiences you have about that.
The most profound of these experiences is around 6 months ago, I started volunteering at the local women's and children's shelter. When you can, like, with these ladies, like, what I do is how I say that the volunteering work I do there is, I call it holistic guidance, because it's not just one thing; it's a lot of different things.
But you have to put it in the words for something. You gotta be like,
Yes.
you're not a counselor. You're not. There's no specific word. You're trying to help someone out,
Yes.
but you're gonna say, "Oh, like, who are you? What are you doing?" You gotta put it in the words.
Yeah, they say, like, oftentimes it changes, man. Sometimes I say I'm a meditation coach. Sometimes I say I'm like a yoga guru, or whatever, But when I feel and see that I've helped someone, it instantaneously brings tears to my eyes, is because I'm becoming more and more compassionate, and that feeling is really, like, beyond all words. It feels like it's the right thing to do. It feels like it is aligned with my purpose in this physical existence.
Back to tears of joy. Not all.
Yeah,
most
man.
of the tears are not like that. So
Yes,
you can.
nowadays, yeah, especially
People are
now.
afraid of crying, but
Yes.
maybe you should cry. It's not a bad crying sometimes.
Crying is purging or healing. It is, yeah, a lot of men, right? They're afraid to admit, even if they cry, they're afraid to admit they cry. Crying is a form of practice also. It's a form of healing. You cleanse yourself emotionally. You, even if it's in a negative way, like you cry because you're sad, let it out. Feel it. And this goes directly towards what I talk about almost every day, and that's transmutation. Okay, so if you feel like crying, cry. Why? Is because the way you're going to, most people say that they would much rather not cry. Okay, if that is really your intention, if you want to be less sad each day, you have to start off with first letting it all out, and then feeling it, not masking it, not burying it, not pretending like it's not going on. Feel it. Be sad. Be in that moment by yourself, with yourself. A lot of people, especially when they're starting off, just listen to themselves. They need someone. That's why most people cannot spend time by themselves, because they need someone to relate to them. Because it's always easier, obviously, with others, for most people. But let it out. Just feel it. In the process, this is what was for me, and still is very interesting for me. The sole occurrence of you observing that feeling. First, identifying with the feeling, becoming the feeling, and then separating from it, observing it. This process allows you to feel less sad, the sadness to start leaving. And then at one point, you start feeling like, oh my God, like, I'm not sad anymore. I'm happy. I'm pretty sure you've seen kids like this all the time. This happens to me a lot. Like, I see, like, children, they cry, and then I walk into them like, "Hey, this is not you. Why are you crying?" And then literally, when they look at you, they were crying. They're in tears, and then instantly they start smiling.
But there, I think maybe if you draw a conclusion from that, because there's so much crying, they're the happiest. They're always laughing. So they see they cry all the time and they laugh all the time. There's no middle ground. They're not gonna just be indifferent to any kind of situation. They want something, they're crying for it, they start crying. They're happy, they're laughing. It's one or the other. Simple. So a lot of grown-ups don't cry, so they're indifferent. You see all the faces, everyone's just like indifferent, flat. No one's you're laughing, you're weird. You're crying, you're weird. If you just don't do anything, that's kind of normal. So that's that kind of feeling we're talking about. Is there, I mean, a lot of advice you can give to people? Tell me if you met yourself from 5 years ago or whenever you came to the United States and you meet someone on the street, you go, I got 2 minutes before you jump on the plane. I got to tell you something. What would you tell yourself?
Keep doing what you feel you need to be doing. This is very important to say. Don't regret anything. Don't stress about anything. I believe that everything in existence happens for a reason. You would not be, like, for instance, that is, as far as we know, impossible, right? Like running into yourself 5 years ago, right? As far as we know.
A lot of
Impossible.
people are, oh my God, if
I
I
should
knew,
have, yes, I
if
should have, could
could
have,
have.
would have.
Yeah,
That
it's always
only
that.
stresses you out. Like, this is like, see, because no one ever taught us. This is the thing, man. Like, in school, our parents. It's not our parents' fault that they haven't taught us how to create a relationship with ourselves or how to create a proper self-talk. It's not their fault. Their parents taught them,
It
to
was
be
beyond their
tough.
comprehensions.
Yes,
You
yes,
can expect.
yes, yes. But it is don't regret it. Everything that happened before, you understand, like, bring yourself to this moment. Like, who is going to achieve the goals you have? The previous you who you're focusing on, or the present you? The present you that perceives that, hey, if you're not on the right course to achieve the goals you have, obviously this present moment needs to change, right? That's it. And this is what also Eckhart Tolle talks about, the power of now. It is ambiguous. It's so crazy understanding it. Everything that ever happened and everything that ever will happen always happens in that present moment. And then you start valuing the present moment more. Like, oh, okay, okay. Understanding also that everything changes. There's no such thing like coming back to the war thing. Yes, it's correct that there has been war going on for thousands of years, but everything is susceptible to change. There's this one thing called law of impermanence. Everything comes and goes.
Yeah, that's how we evolve. You gotta getting better. You learn, you experience, you get wiser. I mean, a lot of people don't, but if you take every day, you learn something, implement in your life, and you get better in a way later on in life, and you can take advantage of that and use it. And was another question for you. If you let's say there is a huge billboard and everyone's driving next to it every day, and you're like, what do you think it should be written on that billboard? Like a sentence or a quote, something quick, and you think everyone needs to read that, and everyone should every day they feel down or whatever, however they feel happy, they should look at that, and what would that be?
Breathe in, breathe out, become the breath. Focus on your breath. It is, man, it is beyond words, beyond science, beyond comprehension. What happens when you just be when you are with your breath. I can explain to you, like what you said, like people cannot feel what I feel, or I can't feel what you feel.
But they need to learn how to feel themselves. That's the whole point.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is the breath. It is the breath. It is the in and the out. You have the yin and the yang in a couple of seconds. This is why breath, in my opinion, is key in all aspects of our human, whatever you want to say, like existence.
I mean, we just stop breathing try to stop breathing for a little bit. You see how important it is. You cannot breathe. You can't for like a minute, two. It depends on the capacity of your lungs. But if you don't know air, it's done. You're done. You can't live. You need to breathe. And if you know how to breathe properly, of course, you're gonna live better life. I think that's kind of obvious. If that's it's most important thing that you have, if you learn how to do it right, of course, it's gonna be amazing. And tell me, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, me and you, we came here. You're trying to. Everyone's asking you actually. Why did you come here? I always mess around. I follow
Uh-huh.
American Dream.
Uh-huh.
I was like, are you living the dream? I'm living the dream. So what's American Dream to you?
Yes, it's absolutely. I think that is totally true in the way you were talking about. Definitely the American dream. When because when people say when people say American dream, most of them mean like realizing or making all of your dreams come true. Becoming happy with what you are, like manifesting the money you always wanted. Uh, Self awareness, self realization, getting to know myself. Because and I've known for the past couple of years, the more I live these guidelines or these beliefs, so to say, or these practices, the more I see that, the more I know myself, the self is in a dictionary written with a big S because the self means all, the universe, God, whatever, however you want to call it, but it's the same concept. The more you become aware of yourself, the more you get to know yourself, the more everything, this is from my personal experience, the more everything starts lining up with your intentions. It is like magic, man. I cannot explain it. Like I can
You have to
just
experience. That's what we said. You gotta
it's
experience
experiential.
things.
Bravo. That's it. It's
You can't
experiential.
just tell someone this is how you feel, but just someone needs to have in their mind they need to rethink whatever they're doing. Even, of course, if you're unhappy, if you think you can do better, which I think everyone can do better, and you can experience a million different things to be even the best, and it's really hard to be the best. So you got to strive to do better every day. And no such thing as short-term plans, long-term plans, health, financially, health, happiness, love. You got to mix all those three come together. You got to balance life between those things. And tell me, I mean, we're always talking about the future. What are your plans for the future? Have any plans? You something you want to share with us?
Well, yes, I'm just going to mention that right now, in this present moment, my main focus is I'm also a cartoon creator. So I'm into acting. I have a voice acting studio in my apartment. So let's just say that my sister and I are working on a cartoon, and we're working on putting it out there. And I just don't want to speak a lot more about this. You'll see it pretty soon. Uh, Pretty much the two, let's say, two brands of mine that I'm pushing, how you want to call it, is the entertainment or acting and the holistic guidance. Well, the practice, my holistic guidance brand or however you want to call it, occupation is daily practice. It's not concept. It's not a philosophy. That goes. That is past. That is present. That is future. But since you asked me for the future, like really, like the practice, I have no doubts about. If I feel like it, I do it. If I don't, I won't. But I'm at that point. What you said, it takes years to get to a point where you're like, yeah, I don't care. It's if it happens, it happens. But the main thing is the cartoon, man. Like that's what I'm pushing, and I'm really looking forward to. Also, yes, I'm looking forward to traveling more, man. I really feel. A lot of people are calling me to be a guest on their show, and I've recently been to LA, visit a couple of friends and also a business partner who I do a bunch of little things. I also am very passionate about indigenous spiritual art. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can see it on my social media platforms. uh, but traveling, meeting different people, and just kind of, oh my god, man, like spreading my horizons, like just seeing different areas of our beautiful planet, man. We live on a gem, man. Like, and we're slowly starting to harmonize our existence with the planet because, as you know, the past couple hundred years, maybe even more, we've been polluting the shit out of it, man. Like, it's really sad if you want
I always go from within. We're polluting ourselves. We don't need first. We're part of the nature, but we're first polluting ourselves, and we got to
to.
fix that if we're gonna fix the nature. So we
That's
trying to fix the nature is not gonna fix ourselves. So that's I
You
think,
always bring it exactly to where it's supposed to be. Yes, that is the main purpose of your daily habits, right? To
yeah, of course, that
cleanse yourself.
you gotta cleanse yourself first. Before we wrap everything up, I will give you some time if you want to just make a summary. If you want to add something that we missed out, if you want to just say something about everything and something
Yes,
you forgot to mention.
just to sum it up. The most important thing, I believe, in everyone's life is their feelings. It's how they feel every day, right? How you feel determines what you're going to do. And that determines your success, right? What you do. Understand that everything, most of the things, there's no secrets anymore. Very few secrets, but most of them are becoming uh, enlightened. There's light being shed on more of them each day. The internet, there's everything you want to find out, you'll find out about it. Or you'll find people that can help you with it. Easy as that. Your feelings and your results in life are determined by your daily habits, period. You choose which ones you implement. That's it. That's it. Like, not, I don't, we've been talking so much, man. That now I feel I really need to like stop.
But we just sum it up. We said, I mean, almost. It's always something we can add. We're gonna
Always,
people like it. People
always.
have any questions, we can always make something new. We can talk about different subjects. If we miss something out, maybe someone else wants to ask something, has more interest in different kind of topics. We can always discuss about that. And also, I mean, people can contact you. Tell people where they can find you.
Okay, so I have a bunch of different platforms I'm
Yeah, just go
present on.
ahead. Just tell all
So
of them.
my I have a website, www.milanvracaric.com. Like Milan, MILAN, VRACARIC.com. And there you will be able to find all of the other platforms I'm on, except Twitter and the other ones I made. But I'm also on Instagram, also like how I spelled my name. Put that in Instagram. You'll find me Milan.Vracaric. Facebook, also Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel also. Same name, last name. That's where people can find me, man. And please contact me. I always tell people like and they do. People really do. Day by day, I get more and more emails and more phone calls. And thank God my sister's helping me out because I really need assistance with this because man, you probably know, man, like social media, it takes certain amount of hours each day, to
Of
like
course, and
upload
it's a lot
stuff
of
to. Yes,
lot
it
of
is work.
it's a
Solely
lot of
that is work,
it's a lot of work.
But yeah, that's pretty much how people can find me. And please, like, let's unite. Let's create like what you're doing is beautiful. Like, let's connect like-minded people and let's just uh, help each other help ourselves.
Become better and make the world a better place.
Absolutely, man. Like that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
All right, Milan, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you here. Hopefully, do this thing again
My
soon.
pleasure, also, man. Thank you very much. This was
It was
really
great.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you.